What's up, everybody? Welcome to week 9 live start sits with the Fatboyz, presented by the Fantasy Holics Podcast Network. We've got a special episode this week. Not only do we have football on TV in Germany, Frankfurt, Germany, with two of the funner teams in the NFL and the Chiefs and the Dolphins, we've got our own Fatboy live in Baltimore, Maryland. Brant is on scene at the Seahawks versus Ravens game. He's walking around doing the tailgate. He still wanted to be here with all of us to make sure we got all the start-sit questions answered. Brant, what's the weather like? Tell us what's going on out there in your neck of the woods.
Guys, there'll be no fantasy issues for the Ravens-Seahawks game. It is beautiful, sunny, about mid to upper 60s. No wind coming through. It's a beautiful, beautiful day out here in Baltimore. It's going to be a good game today. Looking forward to a good matchup between the Ravens and Seahawks. Both are red hot going into this game. So it should be a good matchup. And like I said, the weather will not affect anything here in Baltimore.
All right, Brant, usually we save this for a little bit later on, but you just kind of talked about prior to starting what you were kind of getting ready to do here. So what's on the menu? What are you going to try to get right now to eat?
Right now, this fat boy's out here looking for some breakfast. We got out and about 9:30 a.m. right before the kickoff of the London game. We left the house. We walked towards the stadium. And now this fat boy's trying to find himself some breakfast. Got to get prepped and ready. I got some beverages to digest, so I got to get some in the tummy to start it out with. As soon as we find it, trust me, I'll let you boys know what we're eating.
All right. Sounds good, Brant. Sounds good. All right. So real quick before the comments start coming in, we do have a 7-0 score in the Frankfurt, Germany game with the Chiefs and the Dolphins. Rashee Rice on the receiving end of an 11-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes. Dolphins offense is kind of starting to move the ball a little bit. We had Jalen Waddle shaken up early. I do believe he's back in the game and playing, so shouldn't be any issues there. Tyreek Hill doing Tyreek things already, 3 receptions for 23 yards. So we've got ourselves a pretty good contest over there in Frankfurt, Germany, Brant. So here we go. Tony's got our first question of the morning. Tony says, roster locks at 1, so can't make changes after that. I have Downs, who's questionable. Should I go with him, or I have Addison, Dobbs, or Quentin Johnston on Monday? So this is an interesting question, Tony, for me. I like Quentin Johnston on Monday. I think Joshua Palmer was officially ruled out. I kind of like Quentin Johnston on Monday night. Gives you that little bit of upside. I also like Jordan Addison quite a bit this week. Even with a backup quarterback there in Minnesota, he should still be the focal point of that offense. Brant, you got any opinions on this one?
Was it Addison, Dobbs, and Johnson?
Or he can wait, or he has Dobbs in, or Downs in right now, who's questionable.
Okay. Yeah, let me get. I do like Quentin Johnston. Palmer has been ruled out, so I expect that to be a good game. I don't see that's the Jets. I don't see Sauce shadowing him. He'll obviously be on my team, so I do like Quentin Johnston this week a lot.
All right, there you have it. All right, Kevin says, good morning, boys. Pick 2, Cooper Kupp, Garrett Wilson, Chris Godwin, or Jacoby Myers. So this is another interesting one. Puka Nacua is a little banged up. You got Brett Ripon starting for the Rams, who are at the Packers. So some decent secondary play there. You've got Garrett Wilson Monday night, Chris Godwin and the Bucks at the Saints today, and then Jacoby Myers and the Raiders, the Giants. For me, Brant, I think you have to go with your 2 studs in this one. I think you go Garrett Wilson, Cooper Kupp. I could see the argument being made to sit Kupp just because of the backup quarterback and going Garrett Wilson and Chris Godwin. Where's your head at on this one, Brant?
Yeah, I'm with those. I'm starting my studs. I'm going Wilson and Kupp here. Both drafted higher. I know Godwin. Like I said, I don't have my schedule in front of me. Been looking forward to this, but I still have to go with my studs and Kupp and Wilson.
All right. Sherman says, I have Johnson, Lamb, and Diggs. Should I try to move Jacoby Myers for running back depth? So he does follow it up by saying it is Deontay Johnson. So that is a good wide receiver core there with Deontay Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, and Stephon Diggs. Yeah, I think right now Jacoby Myers is playing well enough that I'd be trying to shop him. I don't know what he's going to look like with Aiden O'Connell. It's who it sounds like as they're going to have starting as they move forward. So it might be an interesting time to sell because maybe other people are a little worried about Jacoby Myers moving forward with Aiden O'Connell as well. But if you can get something out of him, some kind of a decent running back piece to have, because we all know running backs are a struggle. Wide receivers are usually pretty easy to find a decent one to start. So I'm okay with shopping Jacoby Myers. Brant, do you shop Jacoby Myers or are you holding on?
I'm absolutely shopping Jacoby right now. You got to sell him on the high before you really feel it comes back at quarterback. So I'm absolutely going to try to shop around. And running backs have been so hard this year. We're finding some depth which shouldn't be too bad. So I definitely be trying to move him now. I know he's coming off a bad game. Look what he's done all year.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we've got Jennifer coming in. She says, good morning. I'll put all my questions in one post. All right, Brant, this is gonna be a demanding one here for you. So you got the first part is Brandon Cooks or Gerald Everett in PPR. I lean Brandon Cooks. Who do you feel on that one, Brant?
I'm leaning Brandon Cooks as well.
Okay. Part 2, Puka, Nico, or Jerome Ford. So there's just two. Okay, yes, just picking one of them. I think no Robert Woods this week for the Houston Texans. I think I lean Nico Collins on this one. Again, Puka's banged up. Brett Ripens under center. I don't know what we're going to get there. And then Jerome Ford could be in a line for a really good week against the Arizona Cardinals, where they should be able to run the ball a lot. Deshaun Watson shouldn't be asked to do a whole heck of a lot. So for me, it comes down to Nico Collins or Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford safer play, Nico a little sexier.
Yeah, who's the Browns have tonight?
The Browns have the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, give me Jerome Ford then. He should run all over that. Should run all over them. Puka, I'm not even sure. I don't know what the heck Riper's going to bring to the table. But I think Jerome Ford's going to be the best play.
All right, there you have it. Number 3, Alexander Madison, Zach Moss, or Tank Dell in the flex. So I do think I still lean slightly towards Alexander Madison in this one. I think this is the week Jonathan Taylor fully takes back over that Indianapolis backfield. Tank Dell could be in line for a good week. Again, with no Robert Woods. So again, he's the sexier play. The safer one for me is Alexander Madison. I know that Cam Akers is cutting into that touch load every week. I think it's going to be a 50-50 split this week. But with Jaron Hall starting under center for Minnesota, I think they will lean on the run game a little bit. So Madison's the safe play for me. Tank Dell's the sexy play.
Yeah, I'm leaning Madison with that. It's that young quarterback, what is it, 6th-round draft pick or something there starting in Minnesota. Yeah, I'm going to lean Madison when they're going to lean on that run, and hopefully you can keep them going, dump off passes. So yeah, I'll lean Madison over those. As much as I love Tank Dell, I still have to go with Madison.
Fair enough. All right. Pick 2 in PPR, the last part of this question. Jonathan Taylor, Deontay Ingram, Michael Thomas, Jacoby Myers, or Chris Godwin. So for me, I'm going Michael Thomas. I'm going Jonathan Taylor right off the jump.
Yeah, JC and Michael Thomas. I don't see how Arizona loses the ball at all around North Two years. Cleveland coming off a tough defensive game. And I just picking up the stat earlier, and I realized that Cleveland held Kenneth Walker last week only 8 carries. So they shut the run game down pretty well last week. I don't see how England should do any better than what Seattle did.
Absolutely. All right. Matt says, good morning, gentlemen. I have 2-part question. First, is tight end Kyle Pitts or Jake Ferguson? Second is flex Alexander Madison, Devonta Smith, or Gus Edwards. So this is a really easy one for me personally, Matt. No Drake London this week. Taylor Heinicke in to start at quarterback. Kyle Pitts is in my lineup everywhere I can get him. I'm expecting an explosion there. And then at your flex, I'm starting Devonta Smith against the Cowboys, one of the higher scoring games of the week. I'm definitely not pulling out Devonta Smith this week.
And I'm in agreement on the tight end. You got to start Pitts there in Atlanta. I want to say Gus just because he gets shredded by the run a little bit more. But pull Smith out. He's too good, too high power offense. He's Smith in. if you want something that might be a home run, that with Gus Edwards gets in the goal line, that could be it. So if you need a home run hit.
Absolutely. All right. Paul Smith says, morning, guys. Getting closer to Thanksgiving each day. Paul, you are correct. It is getting close to food time, food and football. Granted, that's a one-day-a-year holiday where we eat and watch football. That's an every weekend holiday for me. I have a Thanksgiving every Sunday. I throw down. I give thanks that I've got NFL football to watch. I grub out every Sunday. But yes, Thanksgiving is a very special time. It's getting closer. All right. So it says, my question is a DFS play between Darrell Henderson versus the Green Bay defense, Singletary versus the Tampa Bay defense, Kareem Hunt versus Arizona defense. And he says he's leaning towards Devin Singletary because he is cheaper. Bijan Robinson is his lock-in. Yeah, I actually have some player props that we're going to talk about a little bit later on, Paul, with Devin Singletary this week. I really, really like Devin Singletary in this matchup against the Bucs. I think he catches a few passes out of the backfield. I think he's going to have more touches than we've seen him have all year. I'm excited for Devin Singletary this week. I think this is a week he really submits himself as that starting quarterback in Texas.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm starting Singletary. I think he takes over that backfield once and for all this week. And I think I know Pierce has been ruled out, but I think that it's going to be all about Singletary this week. Leaned on him pretty heavily. So, yeah, give me Singletary there.
All right, Brent, we're in agreement again. All right. John says, Antonio Gibson or Keontae Ingram, standard scoring. He said, yes, it's bad with bye weeks. Yes, that is bad, Johns. But I do tend to lean Antonio Gibson here, I think just due to the passing upside as well that he's going to have, or the pass catching upside, rather. I think you just have a higher ceiling with Gibson than you do Ingram. The Browns defense is so scary, whereas the Commanders are against the Patriots. I go Antonio Gibson here.
Yeah, I got to lean Gibson. I got to lean what I know because I have no idea what that Arizona offense is going to look like this week. So I'm going to lean with what I know. I know Gibson will be involved. So, yeah, give me Gibson.
All right. John says, 1 point PPR, Hunt or Stevenson. So you've got the Browns against the Arizona Cardinals or Stevenson against the Commanders, who no longer have Montez Sweat or Chase Young. I think this is a toss-up for me. Both of these guys are in committees, Stevenson with Elliott and Hunt with Jerome Ford, obviously. I lean Stevenson slightly in this one, just slightly, just because I do think he'll have more of the workload in New England versus Zeke, whereas I expect Jerome Ford to have a slightly higher workload than Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I think I actually lean Hunt in this one. Playing Arizona, playing our soft defense. Washington still has a decent defense even without Sweat and Young. So I think I'm going to lean Kareem Hunt in this one.
All right, Brent. Tell us a little bit about what's the scene like there in Baltimore this morning. What's the atmosphere like?
That's getting busier and busier. Everyone's starting to show up right now. I just got me some barbecue, some loaded fries, topped with mac and cheese, some pulled pork. So we finally found great breakfast, all right. It's starting to get busy here. You got your normal tailgate games here, Phillies Ravens walk. There's a walk straight from Camden Yards all the way over to M&T Stadium, and it's just loaded down with food trucks, music, everything else going on. Seahawks fans are slowly rolling in. So we're evening it out a little bit.
I was going to ask, is it more purple or is it more navy and lime green?
Definitely a whole lot of purple.
As to be expected, right? As to be expected. So, Brant, you alluded to it a little bit. Two really good teams playing today in Baltimore. You've got two really fun offenses to watch. Obviously, your Seahawks acquired Leonard Williams this week in a trade. It'll be interesting to see how he impacts this game. I think it's a good addition in time to play the Ravens, who are a run-first team. What are you expecting to see today in this contest, Brant?
I expect to see plenty of snaps. He knows he fell right into the scheme of practice. I expect him to really pick up on that line and hopefully open up our pass rush a little bit more and maybe contain Lamar Jackson a little bit better than than I was originally expecting. Hopefully he can help out with that by freeing up one of our defensive ends to come after us.
Sure. So, again, obviously, I know what you're rooting for personally. You want to see a win today. But how do you think you see this contest going? Is it going to be a good game? Is it going to be lopsided one side or the other?
I think it's going to be a defensive battle. Both these teams since week 4 is ranked 1 and 2 in most defensive categories. I expect this to be a defensive battle. Turnovers are going to win. Whichever quarterback causes the most turnovers, that's how this team are causing their commits the most turnovers, that other team's winning. That's how you're going to win this game. I think both teams are dead set on running the ball, so it's going to be a fast time going, lots of defense in my mind.
All right, there you have it. All right, we got a couple more questions coming in here. Tony says I could start both Robinson Jr. and Stevenson or go with one of them and play Addison. If pick only one running back, which one? So, again, Brian Robinson at the Patriots or Ramondre Stevenson at the Commanders. Those guys are in the same game there. Addison with Jaron Hall. Man, I don't know what that looks like, but it's a home run type of play, whereas you don't have a home run play in either of Robinson and Stevenson, in my opinion. I think you go Brian Robinson Jr., and then you also play Addison just to give yourself that boom play potentially. I just don't know. I don't know what the home run upside is like. If you start both Robinson Jr. and Stevenson, you'd be clinging to some touchdown equity there. And I'm not sure either of those guys get that done today. But I do like Brian Robinson slightly more than Stevenson. I think you have to play Addison. The Falcons secondary has been subject to getting gouged on deep, big plays. Addison's going to be trying to exploit that today. So, yeah, I think you go Addison and Robinson Jr.
Yeah, I think I'm going Robinson Jr. Safe play. They'll lean on him. So I'm going to go. I think both those running backs will probably play this week. And then I'm going to go with Addison. He's going to have people lean on him.
All right. Amy says, Josh Downs or Dobbs? I'm afraid if I wait on Downs, he won't play. So you've got Romeo Dobbs against the Rams. And then, like you mentioned, Downs is playing this afternoon against the Carolina Panthers. But, yeah, it sounds like Downs is going to be a true game-time decision. I don't know what I have expectation-wise of him this week. I don't have a lot of faith in Romeo Dobbs either. Amy, I would just have to know if there's another pivot in the afternoon that you could potentially pick up. But I think Downs is the better play if he plays. I just don't know if I trust it. I think you go Dobbs here just to be safe.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go out and try to pick up a pivot play because Downs is my pick here. I don't trust Romeo Dobbs. I can't trust anybody in Green Bay right now. I've got Aaron Jones. That's how much I don't trust. I've had leagues. That's how much I don't trust
that. She does follow up and say she could pick up Wan'Dale Robinson. Yes, pick up Wan'Dale Robinson. He's your play this week if Downs doesn't play. I like Wan'Dale Robinson a lot in that matchup against the Raiders this week. I think he has a pretty exceptional game, Amy. So if you can pick up Wan'Dale or pivot to him late, you absolutely do that. And then you have no issue with Downs if he doesn't play. All right. Matt says, number one, Pollard, Zach Moss, or Chuba Hubbard, Brant. We'll start with this one. Pollard has the Eagles, Moss again with the Colts against the Panthers, and Chuba Hubbard is in that same game. I think I tend to actually go Hubbard here. That Eagles defense has been pretty darn good against the run. It was the pass that they were kind of getting beat up by a little bit. And Pollard really hasn't looked that great this season. I think Hubbard, again, in this game with the Panthers versus the Colts, is going to have a chance to come on and really cement himself in that backfield. It does sound like it's going to be a committee between Hubbard and Miles Sanders, but I do think Hubbard's going to get a decent amount of touches and catch some passes. I like Hubbard this week over those three.
Yeah, I'm leaning Hubbard there. I'm leaning Hubbard in that first one. Actually, I'm leaning Hubbard in both sets. I love his upside. I'm starting to fall into that Finley train here. on Hubbard after Washington over Miles Sanders. Yeah, I'm leaving Hubbard here.
Okay. So you take Hubbard in both. I take Hubbard in the first. I take Aaron Jones in the second one. Again, like you alluded to, I don't trust anything on that Packers offense, but I do think I trust Aaron Jones this week. I think Aaron Jones has his best game of the season, and it's going to come at a time where the Packers really need it. They're reeling right now. I don't think any of us are really used to seeing the Packers offense struggle quite the way they have so far this year. So I look for Aaron Jones to be involved heavily today. So I go Jones in the second one. Michael says Jacoby Myers or Puka Nacua at flex. Again, Puka scares me a little bit this week. He's been banged up. Brett Rypien under center. But on the other side of the ball, you've got the Raiders team who's in complete turmoil. You've got Antonio Pierce coaching his first game. I listened to the press conference. I want to run through a wall for Antonio Pierce, and I'm not a Raiders fan. I'm not a Raiders player. I got nothing to do with the Raiders, but he had me hyped up listening to his introductory press conference. But again, new head coach, new general manager, Aiden O'Connell under center. I don't know what I'm getting in either of these games, but due to the fact that Puka is questionable and, one wrong hit, one thing happens at the wrong time, he's knocked out. Give me Jacoby Myers just because there's no injury designation with him.
Yeah, I'm taking Jacoby in this one, absolutely. That's who I think the best play right now out of those two. As much as I love Puka, I just don't know if he's going to be in full health.
Okay. So obviously, Brant, I'm gonna come back to you for just a second because I know what game your eyes are on for this first slate. Because it's you're obviously there in person. It's a where's Walker situation instead of where's Waldo. You're in Baltimore. I know that's your noon game of the week. For me, obviously, I'm going to be watching my Falcons and Vikings, and just the Jaron Hall versus Taylor Heinicke. Who doesn't want to tune in to watch that? It's a prime time, big name quarterbacks. But honestly, I think the NFL's done it really decent this week with the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs live in Frankfurt, Germany right now. Granted, the scoreboard doesn't reflect how high-powered these two offenses actually are, and still a 0-7 contest with the Chiefs leading over there in Frankfurt, Germany. But you just talk about premier matchups, right? You've got the Chiefs and the Dolphins this week. Your Seahawks against the Ravens is another game that is just two premier teams playing each other. Cowboys, Eagles, Bills, and Bengals. And then who'd have thought Zach Wilson would have the Jets being a contending team, but even the Chargers at Jets this week is another one that's very intriguing to me this week. So we've got a lot of really good games going on this week. Got a lot of really good things to be excited about this week. Brant's very clearly excited about his food that he's starting to sit down and eat, so we'll give him just a second here to digest. Let's go ahead and talk about some touchdown scores this week, because I do think that I've got two from your game, Brant. I want to see what your thoughts are on these two. So I'm going to start with the two that are not from your game, give you a minute to get a couple bites of food in here, and then I'll come back to you with the two guys from your game. So I've got Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons to score a touchdown today. Again, no Drake London under center. Taylor Heinicke coming in as the starter, who I do think is a little bit more confident at this point in his career than Des Ridder is. So I think maybe you see him take some more gambles, take some chances. I think this offense will be a little – I would like to see what it looked like with Drake London this week. Unfortunately, that's not an option. But nonetheless, I think Bijan Robinson gets a lion's share today. I think he really, really is put out there and puts his talents on display. He got his first rushing touchdown last week. I wouldn't be shocked to see him get a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown this week in this game against the Minnesota Vikings, whose run defense has not been great. And then the other one I have is Adam Thielen. He's been the total focal point of that Carolina Panthers offense. He's been peppered with targets each and every week. He's just a guy that I think he really cements himself as a top 10 wide receiver. I again wouldn't be shocked to see Adam Thielen find the end zone a couple of times this week. This is just been a really fun season for Adam Thielen. Now, the two for your game that I want to talk about, Brant. I've got one for each team here, and one of them might be a stretch. So I'm going to start with the one that's like, yeah, that's pretty obvious. I've got Mark Andrews to score a touchdown today for the Baltimore Ravens. I do think tight ends are kind of been a point that I think you guys are a little better this year against tight ends than in the past. But Mark Andrews is the focal point of that Ravens offense. I saw you shake your head. Tell me why Mark Andrews doesn't find the end zone this week.
Well, because like you say, he's going to get covered by the best safety in the league. Probably shouldn't say that too loud. There might be some fans of Jamal Adams out here. I'm not. Mark Andrews probably does find it because Jamal Adams can cover anybody. So could probably have little fans here. Whoop! We'll retract that statement there. We got a PG show here. I'll keep my comments. No, I think Andrews does, but that's not the one that I expect from Baltimore to be scoring. I'm going to step away from the family here. I think Gus Edwards finds the end zone because he gets in the goal line situations and touchdown. He sniffs out the end zone. I think Edwards finds it.
Okay. Here's the other one that I think, Brant, this might be a stretch. And again, you're more in tune with this offense than I am. I think this guy's really starting to come into his own for your Seahawks. Starting to get a little bit more involved. And I know you're waiting for me to say JSN right now.
You're saying Jake Promo.
This week.
Oh.
Nope. Zach Charbonnet finds the end zone this week.
We'll see. He's in the 3-minute or in the 2-minute offense. I wouldn't be surprised. I hope he does. I think it'd be his first career one during season. I don't know if he's found it yet. My guess, I think it's JSN. Honestly, I think JSN finds it in. He's had 11 catches, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns since the bye week. He's starting to really get in. We always see the rookies start to integrate with the new offense after the bye week. So I expect a huge week out of JSN again this week.
I hope so. I'm starting him in a few leagues. I actually sat DK Metcalf because I'm leaning that I think it is a JSN week, but I could not stop staring at the name Zach Charbonnet when I was doing my touchdown scores, Brent. So there we go.
I hope he does. I'd love to see his first career one.
I'm sure you would. I'm sure you'd like to see his second and third, too. All right, so Yusuf says 2 flex spots, pick 2 in PPR. He's got Zay Flowers, Kareem Hunt, Ramondre Stevenson. So for me, again, Yusuf, I'm going to say, because we've talked about Kareem Hunt and Stevenson a couple of times today, those guys are both in committees where I think they're both going to be sharing about a 50% workload. Zay Flowers is a guy that I'm going to put in. I know the secondary in Seattle is coming into their own, something fierce. I think they will have these wide receivers pretty frustrated, but Zay Flowers is a guy that's shifty enough. He could get some receptions and have a good game. And then I actually do go Ramondre Stevenson for the other side of this. I know Brant was kind of more on the side of Kareem Hunt against the Arizona Cardinals defense, but I like Zay Flowers and Ramondre Stevenson.
I'm going to go with Zay. I think he's going to get covered with targets when they do have to throw the ball. Like I said, I expect defensive battle. I expect Zay Flowers to be the beneficiary of the third and longs or the third down. And I'm still going with Kareem Hunt there. I love the matchup this week, and I think he's starting to really get into his own in that offense. But again, I think he's starting to get reiterated into it.
All right. Amy follows it up her earlier question and says she could also get Devin Singletary and scrap the above mentioned wide receivers. So, do you like Devin Singletary this week better than Downs, Josh Downs, Brant, or Wan'Dale Robinson?
I don't like him better than Downs. I don't, but I think I'd start him for the safety aspect just because you don't have to wait. Go ahead and start Singletary on my line.
Okay. She does have that Wan'Dale Robinson to pivot. So if you don't like Down or Singletary more than Downs, I think she waits on Downs and sees what she's got there and then puts in Wan'Dale Robinson if you need to absolutely step away from it. I do think if you could pick Singletary up, he might be a really good roster hold for the second half of the season. Brant and I are both feeling pretty good about the Devin Singletary situation in Houston. So that might be one that you want to have moving forward. All right, so John says survival pick this week. He's leaning Cleveland or the Saints. So he's got the Browns against the Cardinals, right, and the Saints against against the Bears and backup quarterback Tyson Bagent. Do you lean one way or the other in these?
I'm leaning Cleveland all day. You don't know what you're not sure what you're going to get at Chicago. Are you going to get another 300 rushing yard game out of Chicago, a 3-touchdown game out of Chicago? So give me Cleveland. I don't believe that Arizona's going to be able to move the football. Cleveland's coming off a bad loss to us. So I'm leaning Cleveland. I think they come out with a point to prove it. Deshaun Watson will be part of it.
All right. So Brant, you're leaning the Browns. I think you probably do go with the Browns as well. just due to the simple fact that, again, they're starting against a rookie quarterback as well in Clayton Tune out of SMU. So I think it's probably pretty safe to assume you're going to get a decent amount of points out of both those defenses. But that Browns defense is pretty solid. So we're gonna go ahead and go with. I think we're gonna be in agreement and go ahead and go with the Browns on that one. I'm trying to type myself a comment here that I want to talk about in just a second.
I'm trying to eat, but not be on camera as much.
You're getting out of the defense week in and week out.
All right.
Try not to make the whole world watch me eat.
We appreciate it. All right, here we go. Daniel says Henderson, Ford, or Hunt. He needs one. So I think Ford. I think Ford is probably the safer play here. I think he probably gets more touches than Kareem Hunt. Obviously, Kareem Hunt's a little more explosive than Jerome Ford. I go Jerome Ford. Brant, do you like Jerome Ford, or who do you like out of those three?
I could go with whichever one you. I like Hunt. I think Hunt takes over that backfield. I think he's more explosive. But if Daniel, if you feel that Ford's the number one guy there, then you take him. But I have a feeling that it's Hunt. But that's where I'm going. I'm going with the Cleveland backfield.
Okay. Jennifer says Logan Thomas or Jake Ferguson. So again, you got the Cowboys against the Eagles, Commanders against the Patriots. I think I like Logan Thomas here. Every other week it's been somebody different in Washington, but I think I do like Logan Thomas. Again, that Eagles defense is starting to get really scary. They added some good pieces. I think you go Logan Thomas here, Jennifer.
Yeah, I'm going Logan Thomas. No Curtis Samuel this week, so give me Logan Thomas to be the beneficiary of a couple extra targets this week.
All right. So I did put this one up there. I want you guys to chime in. Tell Brant who you guys think he's going to see win today. What is it, the Ravens or is it Brant Seahawks in Baltimore? You guys chime in. Let us know who you think is going to win here. Daniel says Thomas, Johnston, or Douglas. I think it's Michael Thomas that you're asking about. Quentin Johnston and Douglas, the rookie wide receiver there in New England. Daniel, I think I go Quentin Johnston here. Like I said, Josh Palmer's out this week. I just think he's going to be in line for a good load of work. Again, it's Monday night. We started to see him get involved more and more last week. I think you've got to go with Quentin Johnston there, Daniel.
New England has Washington, correct?
Correct.
I'm going with Douglas. I'm going with the shocker here. I like this rookie. I think he's going to take over that as the number one role. Kendrick Bourne, I believe, is out for the season. So yeah, I'm going to go with Douglas. I think he takes over that role, and I think that New England offense starts to roll a little bit.
Okay. Daniel says that background noise is brutal. Hey, listen, Daniel, we've got Brant live on scene in a game this week. It is what it is. He's not sitting in his studio recording with his mic. He's doing the best he can to be here for you guys this week. So we're going to put up with a little bit of background noise. Otherwise, you just have my ugly self here talking by myself, and nobody wants that. So we're going to put up with a little bit.
I've tried to mute it. I've tried to mute it in between, but my food showed up, Daniel, and I forgot to hit the button I was trying to eat.
All right. John says, sorry, Brant, but Ravens, I think they keep it close, though. So he's saying we've got our first chime in on your contest here. John says he thinks your Seahawks come up just short in a good game. So we will see if John's is right. I know Brant's beating the table for his Seahawks as anybody would. So there you go. First one. Jennifer says she can also grab Kyle Pitts from the waivers. This is the week to pick him up. Taylor Heinicke, we don't know what that offense is going to look like, but like I said, I think he's a little bit more confident at this stage in his career. I think he's going to take more deep shots than you saw Desmond Ridder do, and I think Kyle Pitts should start to see his role increase. I think you start to see some good things out of Kyle Pitts, especially this week with no Drake London in that offense.
Yeah, I'm definitely grabbing Pitts this week, and I'm holding on to him. I don't even know why he would be on waivers. I know he's been hit or miss a lot in his career, but I couldn't let him sit out there.
All right. Colby says, full point PPR, pick 2, Tank Dell, Gabe Davis, or Tyler Lockett. So you've got, all right, so let me say it to you like this. the Bucks-Texans game is one of the lower scoring contests of the week. Gabe Davis and the Bills offense is in the highest one with the Bengals. Gabe Davis is a start for me this week for sure. I don't say that very often, but the point spread's too good. I like it. And then Tyler Lockett's another one that I want to play this week. Every week he gets faded. It's DK, it's JSN, it's blah, 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 it's blah, blah, and then Tyler Lockett still has sneaky good weeks every single week. So I'm taking Gabe Davis and Tyler Lockett in this one.
Yeah, I'm in the same with this. Lockett and Davis there. I think Lockett should be in for a good game. I think he might be the beneficiary, him and JSN, of the short passes. And Davis is a boom play.
All right. So let's see. John says Romeo Dobbs, Puka Nacua, or Quentin Johnston pick 2. I'm taking Dobbs out. That Green Bay pass catching situation with Jordan Love under center. I just can't get myself on board with anything there. So yeah, even a banged up Puka Nacua, I'm starting over Romeo Dobbs. So give me Puka Nacua. Quentin Johnston's one of my favorite plays of the week this week, Monday Night Football. No Joshua Palmer. I think Quentin Johnston could be in line for a really good week this week, probably his best career game potentially. So yeah, Puka and Johnston for me.
As long as Puka plays, I'm going Puka and Johnston there.
All right, we're in agreement again. Daniel says the Chiefs-Dolphin game is so boring with lots of Z's. It isn't the greatest game. It's not what any of us expected from this game. However, that being said, we're still seeing Tyreek Hill have a decent game. It's not what we're used to. Jalen Waddle's leading the Dolphins in rushing with 12 yards. So everybody who started Raheem Mostert's probably a little upset with that right now. On the Chiefs side of the ball, Isaiah Pacheco's got 71 yards rushing. He leads there. Noah Gray is the leader for the Chiefs in receiving yards. Travis Kelce's had a quiet day, 2 receptions for 7 yards. Again, Rashee Rice is probably the highest fantasy scorer so far in this contest. 2 receptions, 17 yards, and a tutty. For him. So yes, Daniel, I agree. It's not the contest any of us were hoping it would be. However, it is better than no football. So yes, we do have a snooze fest, if you will. Hopefully the second half gets a little bit better, but these overseas games can get a little tricky, right? We've seen some games in London that are wonky. Two of the premier offenses in the National Football League at a 7-0 contest right now with about 8 minutes left in the first half. So yeah, I agree, Daniel. It's not what any of us expected, but I think the overseas games, the travel can get to these players at times.
How much time is left in that Dolphins-Chiefs game? I haven't got a chance to check it out.
Still 8 minutes left, around 8 minutes left in the first half, so we've still got some time left.
Okay.
I assume Brant's asking because he starts Raheem Mostert, he starts Tyreek Hill, so he's got some stuff in that contest.
Yes.
All right. Katie says in PPR, Puka Nacua, Terry McLaurin, or Devonta Smith, pick just one, Brant. Just one of these guys. Again, all 3 of these guys are absolute studs so far this year. Puka, I'm going to fade out just slightly due to the simple fact that he has an injury designation coming into the week. So for me, it's Scary Terry against the Patriots or Devonta Smith against the Cowboys. I do think I lean with Devonta Smith and the Eagles. Jalen Hurts has been too good this year, and this is a divisional matchup. I expect this contest to be a really fun one to watch. I think both teams pull out all the stops. I think you see plenty of Devonta Smith this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Devonta Smith. That's another player I start in a lot of places. So yeah, I'm going to lean Devonta Smith. I like this matchup this week. I know it's the Cowboys, but I expect them to be the beneficiary of a lot of game planning against A.J. Brown.
Okay. So again, I'm going to put this back up on the screen while we talk a little bit about some other stuff. I want you guys to chime in and tell Brant which team he's going to see win this week, whether it be his Seahawks or the Ravens in the Ravens house here. So again, right now in this overseas tilt, like I said, we just kind of talked about it a little bit. Isaiah Pacheco is really starting to get going here. He's had several carries here, so I do think this is a game that you start to see take shape in the second half. I think these guys start getting going a little bit, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's plenty of fantasy relevancy to become in the second half. Maybe it'll be a little more explosive, Daniel, and kind of wake us up and get us ready for the 1 o'clock slate here when Brant's Seahawks do play the Ravens. So again, a little bit of a different week for us. Brant live on the scene, and me live from the man cave here. Again, pardon us for the background noise a little bit, but we do what we can to be here for you guys. Brant could be, selfish and tailgating and shoving his face full of food, which I know he wants to do, and he's probably going to go eat some more as soon as we get done here. But he didn't want to leave you guys high and dry. He wanted to be here to make sure you guys got your best lineups out there. I will be the one to do it. A round of applause to you, Brant, for being here with us this week. That's a lot, and thank you to your family that you're with. For again allowing you to do this as well.
That's not the nicest thing. I figured you would say thanks to my family for taking me out of Illinois, so you didn't have to hear me all weekend as I sit here screaming. It's good time. Good atmosphere here, honestly. There's a very good atmosphere. Everyone we talked to has been a good time here. The gates do open as soon as we're done with our live. So, yes, I will be stuffing my face full of all the good food that they have in the inside, and I'll get some liquid courage to go with it. I didn't think it was good to have that on camera, so I'm holding off on that one there.
I don't think anybody would fault us here, Brant. So, or fault you for doing so. Hey, have at it, buddy. We all think you deserve one anyway for being here with us this morning. So we tip our hat. Jennifer says thanks as well here. So there you go. We've also got another one here that I think you'll be happy to see. Let's go Seahawks. Katie says Steelers fan here, need those rat birds to lose, she said. So you've got 1-1 right now. We've got one Ravens, one Seahawks. So the people are kind of split on this game so far, Brant.
I mean, two lost teams coming in. Like I said, both of them have been on a good streak. So I do expect a good game here. I expect it to be real fun and real hard hitting game. And you know me, I love defense, so I think that this is going to be a defensive battle. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
I couldn't agree more. John says, man, I was really hoping to see London with Heine this week. That's a bummer. I really agree. I think this could have been Drake London's best week. As a Falcons fan, I'm a little torn. I really wanted to see Desmond Ridder find it at some point. I was really hopeful. I love Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati in college. He was my favorite quarterback in the draft class. So when the Falcons got him in the third round, I was exceptionally excited about it. It just didn't work out. I do hate to see him get the hook with 11 games, but started. But you lose that many turnovers, and it's just it's inevitable. The writing was on the wall for him to get yanked at some point. So now, as a Falcons fan first, and then a fantasy fan second, I'm really excited to see Taylor Heineke, come under center. I do think he elevates the fantasy relevancy in Atlanta there, and so I'm excited to see what the offense looks like under him. As long as it's not as bad as it was under Marcus Mariota, I'll be just fine.
I'm actually that's the one thing I am upset about missing the Atlanta game this week. I called it at the beginning of the year that I wanted to see Nicky in that offense. I think he's a dog. He's just a winner. He did it at Washington. I know you guys are still trying to find your footing, but with your offense, I think Heineke, he's just a dog. He's a winner, and I really think he's going to elevate that team. I expect you guys to be really in good contention, and I'm excited to see him in a few weeks when we go down there and see that Atlanta team play Tampa Bay as they kick the Bucs around. So I'm excited to get to see him play. So I hope I'm right. I hope he is willing to put up the numbers and really keep you guys in contention.
Absolutely, Grant. Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about this for a minute, because I think this is really interesting before we get into our underdog plays of the week. So as you go through and you look at these games this week, Rams, Packers, Brett Rypien versus Jordan Love. All right. Bucks, Texans, Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud. Commanders, Patriots is Sam Howell, Mac Jones. Bears, Saints, Tyson Baggett at Derek Carr. Vikings, Falcons. You've got goodness gracious, his name's eluded me several times this morning. The kid from BYU, Jalen. It's coming to me in a minute against Taylor Heineke. We've got there you go. Got nothing but bad quarterback matchups here. Clayton Tune against Deshaun Watson. We'll skip you guys' game because there's good quarterback play there. Bryce Young and the Panthers hosting Gardner Minshew and the Colts. Daniel Jones and Aiden O'Connell. I don't know about anybody else watching this week. That's not the quarterback names I expected to see going into week 9 of the NFL season for a lot of these teams. So, in Superflex leagues, it's a struggle because these quarterbacks are so inconsistent. The injuries are out there. Yeah, the landscape's just a little brutal right now. But it's interesting nonetheless. I don't think any of us expected to see these names under center. All right, Brant, I'm going to go ahead and take us through the Underdog plays of the week. I know, again, you won't have any this week for us, but you can definitely dive in and give your thoughts on mine. So here we go, Underdog picks of the week. All right, so let's talk about these Underdog plays of the week. Again, I've got one that I really like from your contest, Brant, but I've got a couple others to talk about as well. So I'm going to start with some others. I've got Jaden Reed in that Green Bay game to go over 2.5 receptions. I'm not trusting what I'm seeing out of Christian Watson right now. I'm not trusting what I'm seeing out of Romeo Doubs. I think Jaden Reed's just as likely as anybody else to have 2.5 receptions this week. So I think he goes higher than that there in the Green Bay game. So what do you think about Jaden Reed this week, Brant? You with me on that one or no?
Hang on.
All right, Brent, we're going to come back to you.
Yeah, I expect Reed to be just fine in that game. Like you said, 2.5 receptions isn't much. Who do they got this week?
They have the Rams.
Yeah, I expect that to be a scoring game, so I expect them to be involved.
Okay. I've got Devin Singletary higher than 66.5 total yards today. Again, I think this is a week that he really cements himself in that backfield. Devin Singletary higher than 66.5 total yards. Brant, what do you say about that one?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I think he's going to blow up this week. I think this week he takes over that backfield. You want something?
Okay. My lock of the week, the one I feel most comfortable about out of all of them, Kyle Pitts, higher than 42.5 receiving yards. Again, I think Kyle Pitts explodes this week. No Drake London, Taylor Heineke under center. I really like what I see out of him this week. Kyle Pitts, higher than 42.5 receiving yards. Brant.
I'm about to get on FanDuel and jump that up even more and take him to go over 50 and get that.
Absolutely.
Under center. I absolutely love that.
Okay. And then Rondale Moore, I have higher than 18.5 receiving yards this week. Again, I think Clayton Tune under center, Trey McBride. This team's you're going to have to pass the ball to move against the Cleveland Browns. I think Rondale Moore gets involved. 18.5 yards is one catch for a guy with more speed. It's kind of a gamble play, but I think it is one that boosts your odds a little bit. So I like that one quite a bit. All right.
Absolutely. One catch and turn off on that.
Absolutely. All right, Brant, I'm pulling up your game stuff. I'm going to ask you some questions regarding your game today. All right. So according to Underdog, Lamar Jackson, 1.5 passing touchdowns. Can he get that done against your Seahawks?
Under. I'm taking the under on that. I think it's going to be a rough bet.
I agree with you on that one. I think your secondary is really starting to come into your own. Devin Weatherspoon's looking like a top 5 pick. I like that one as well. Gus Edwards to have higher than 56 rushing yards.
I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it quietly, but I think he goes higher than that.
Okay, higher. And then I'm going to ask you this guy because he's your favorite Raven, and then we'll move over to the other side of the ball here. Zay Flowers, does he have more than 5 receptions?
Still not my favorite Raven. It's still Bateman. If I had to pick one, still going to stick on the Bateman train that I've been on forever.
Okay. All right. Let's see. On the Seahawks side of the ball, I'll ask you a couple more here, and then we'll talk about the menu, and then we will jump off for the day. Geno Smith. Does Geno get it done through the air, Brent? Does Geno have higher than 234.5 passing yards? No, well, looks like we may be having some there. Oh, here we go. Does Geno Smith have higher than 234 passing yards?
I think.
All right, I'm going to give a quick update on the Brant's service is getting a little spotty on us here, so I'm going to give a quick update on the Frankfurt, Germany game. We did just see Patrick Mahomes' second touchdown of the game. Jerick McKinnon caught a 17-yard catch for a score. So you've got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs' offense is starting to click a little bit here. Still waiting for that Travis Kelce to come onto the scene and really get going here. Travis Kelce still held to just 2 receptions, even though they just did score. Patrick Mahomes having a quietly good day, on pace for 300 yards passing. So should see a good game out of him. Again, on the other side of the ball, Tua's only completed 7 of 12 passes for 16 yards. Let's see. Raheem Mostert still three carries for 6 yards. Not a whole lot more there. So it is starting to come into its own a little bit here. We did lose Brant. He said he was stepping into the stadium. The gates were opening, so he was going to go ahead and step in there and go ahead and get himself into his seats. Can't blame him for that. Tyreek Hill, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 46 yards. So again, fantasy relevancy is starting to happen a little bit here. Not what any of us expected, but nonetheless, it is still a football game Sunday morning. To start our week in Frankfurt, Germany. It's good to see for the NFL. It's good to see for fantasy. 2 really good teams playing there. Hopefully that picks up. So Brant didn't get a chance to tell us. I know him and I had talked about it before. You go to Baltimore, you got to get crab cakes. You got to get some kind of seafood. So I know he's looking forward to doing that at some point in Seattle. For me this week, we're doing brunch, biscuits and gravy, eggs, sausage, all the good stuff. Here, maybe even some cinnamon rolls, and then we're gonna have some pizza later on after that. But yeah, you got to throw down for the food for Sunday. Again, it was mentioned earlier how close we're getting to Thanksgiving, but every week is a week to throw down when football's on. It's just an excuse to cook and have good food. So there we go. So I'm going to talk about this Bills at Bengals game a little bit because it is the highest scoring game of the week. So it is a 50.5 over under line right now. Bengals are favored by 2.5. I know the narrative, almost all week in social media has been the Damar Hamlin stuff. It does sound like he's going to be inactive in this game as he is like their 5th best safety at this point in Buffalo. So you probably won't see a whole lot with him. Maybe, go out for the coin toss, something which, obviously we're all rooting for him. But I think this is going to be one of the better games of the season, probably. I know that the Bills offense hasn't looked as good as it did last year at times, and the Bengals offense is really starting to turn into what they were last year. They're really getting going after that really, really slow start in Cincinnati. But we're starting to get going here. I think this is just in time for a really, really good game. Sunday night football. Definitely excited to watch this one tonight. What do I look for in this game? I look for a lot of T. Higgins, right? Because he was the one involved in the opposite side of that Damar Hamlin stuff last year. I think you see a lot of T. Higgins. Joe Mixon's really starting to look good. And then on the other side of the ball, what is Leonard Fournette doing? Is Leonard Fournette going to have a role this week, or is it going to be a slowly integrating him into it? I'm really interested to see what the Leonard Fournette dynamic changes this offense. Obviously, James Cook has been pretty good for all of us for fantasy to this point. So I'm excited to see what happens with Leonard Fournette. He could be a league winner if you were able to pick him up after the news broke. We'll see. I do think it tempers my expectations for Josh Allen running, because this is a big-bodied guy brought in obviously to help in the red zone situations, keep him fresh. So we'll see what happens there. But it's going to be an interesting week of football as a whole. Like I said, I went through and listed off all these C-list quarterbacks, if you will. So it's going to be really interesting to see who shines, who doesn't shine, and where this goes from here. I know some of these guys are just filling in because the starting quarterbacks are hurt, but it'll be really interesting to see how these quarterbacks play this week. So again, I want to bring it out to everybody's attention. If you didn't get your start sit question here in time, there is a live start sit post happening on the Fantasyholics Facebook page. So don't hesitate to jump over there and drop your comment. I'm sure there's a chance Brant will post some pictures and videos from his game in Baltimore as well at some point. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks for tuning in for us this week, guys. It was a special week. Again, like I said, Brant, we really tip our hat to you for being with us for as long as you could today, going into Baltimore. I know you're excited about your game, so it was really a good gesture on your part to be here with us for that. So we appreciate you for that, Brant. Hopefully a good week of football for all. Hopefully everybody starts the right players here and just has their offenses explode. Again, if you don't get your question in here in time, don't hesitate to reach over to the Fantasyholics Facebook page. There'll be plenty of guys answering questions there. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all the major platforms. We're there. So don't hesitate to reach out on any of those for any needs you may have as the season continues. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. No Brant. Nobody wants to hear me continue to ramble here as I have been. So hopefully everybody has a good week 9 of football. Hopefully the second half of this Frankfurt, Germany game picks up and gets us going a little bit. I'm going to sign off for both myself and Brant. So as always, guys, stay hungry and stay fat, my friends.